Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S, episode 5. So, last time we had some really fun stuff with Alma and Toru working together on Neighborhood Watch, and the neighbor character I cannot remember the name of, and other stuff like that. And I'm excited to see where this continues to go, because there's definitely still been some setup that we're still clearly waiting to deliver on. And I'm just interested to see if that actually comes to fruition. But a big amount of news here as well. Season 2 is officially beginning its dub. It came out of nowhere, to put it simply. Because in weeks past and everything, people had been bugging voice actors and stuff, especially like Leia Clark, who's the English voice of Kobayashi. People had been bugging them like, oh, do you know anything about a dub coming out and everything? And people's like, I've been waiting for the dub to get into season 2 and everything. And basically the response that I've seen has always been kind of this, you'll know as soon as we know kind of situation. And the way it was worded, though, almost made it sound like the voice actors didn't even know if this was happening yet. Yet, now, just out of nowhere, it's announced, oh, by the way, the first episode of the dub, that's coming out tomorrow, which this was actually posted like yesterday, so it's coming out today. As of recording this today, Wednesday. Because, yeah. But, so that obviously means that they've recorded their lines ahead of time and everything. So, it's just, I don't know. I guess they were trying to play coy and everything. It's like, we don't know, like, the information on when it would be coming out or whatnot, or I don't know exactly what they were going for there, but it almost seemed like, at least from what I saw from Leia Clark's feed, it looked like she was trying to like almost say like she doesn't even know if it's happening, and it just made it seem like it wasn't even recorded yet or even like planned yet. But either way, it's obviously happening. We will be continuing to watch in the sub, though. This is not going to be like another Steins Gate Zero situation where we just put it on hold for a few weeks and then come back to it with the dub. Because the thing is, with Dragon Maid, I really do like both. I like both the sub and the dub. I think the voices on both are great. And honestly, I don't want to wait. With Steins Gate Zero, I was willing to wait because I prefer the dub so much drastically more than the sub. So I was completely okay with holding off for a little bit to wait for the dub to catch up. But with this, it's like I don't mind watching the sub at all. And I'm perfectly good with that. And I'm not even saying the sub for Steins Gate and Steins Gate Zero are bad. It's just I prefer the dub so drastically more. So yeah. We're going to be continuing Dragon Maid as normal in the sub. And I'll check out the dub probably on my own time and everything. So yeah. But for those of you who do end up watching the dub, I will let you know there apparently is at least one voice actor change. Shota's voice actor is being changed, and I don't know what the reason for that is. All I know is that it was announced there's a new voice actor for Shota. And that's fine. I'm sure they'll do a great job. I don't know why it's happening. But I guess I wanted to let you guys know just anyways. But so yeah. I don't know what else to expect with this. I don't even know if we have a full season episode count yet. Like, I don't know if this is going to be like 13 episodes like season 1 was, or which actually I think was 12 episodes, and then the 13th was a special episode that was released after. I think. Something like that. But either way, I don't know if it's going to be around that or if it's going to be longer. I don't know what they're planning for this, so I haven't heard anything. That's the thing. So. But we're just going to get this started, hope for the best, and see what episode 5 has in store. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, before anything else, I want to talk about one specific thing. Kobayashi in this episode basically says she sees Toru and Elma as actual friends, and talks about how, like, they're always bickering with each other, how they're always, like, playfully, like, going after each other and stuff, and she mentions she's always wanted friendship like that. But later in the episode, we see her doing the same thing, picking on and playfully teasing Toru. And we see this all the time. I don't think she fully realizes, because of Toru maybe being her maid or whatnot, or whatever else you want to look at it as, but I don't think she fully realizes just how close she and Toru are. It's very clear that they have that kind of relationship that she says she's always wanted. It's very clear that they are extremely close, and that Kobayashi deeply cares for Toru, and that Toru deeply cares for her back. And this has been apparent in season 1 and everything. So this isn't anything new either. So it's just interesting to me that she's not fully realizing this. It's so natural and so naturally ingrained in things. It's like it just doesn't click for her. But overall, this is one of my favorite episodes. And it does 2 really big plot points in this episode that I really loved. So they're kind of like back and forth split throughout. So let's just talk about each of the plot points one at a time. The first one is the history of Toru and Elma. So Toru and Elma tell Kobayashi about how they met and how their relationship had been when they met. Toru was scoping out this human town, village, whatever you want to call it, when she saw that they were worshipping someone basically as a deity. She realized when seeing her that she was a dragon rather than some kind of like god or goddess, and so confronted her about it. They agreed to go off and examine humanity together, but eventually got into a massive fight where Toru had destroyed this palace that was erected in worship and reverence of Elma. But Toru brought up a very valid point here about, honestly, just how a lot of humans work, like in real life too, throughout history. She mentions that they would praise and worship her, but then there would start to be fights and divisiveness with people who don't, and so on and so forth. and it would just cause classism and really hurt more than it helps. And this is true. Throughout history, there is so much proof of this kind of shit happening. A lot of heavy classism has come from, let's be honest, religion. And I'm saying this as a Christian myself. I acknowledge how honestly shitty Christianity and other religions have been, and honestly, in a lot of ways, still are. um, because it's something that has to be acknowledged. A lot of times in the older days, like years and years and years, hundreds and thousands of years back, religion was ingrained in society in the same way that politics are currently. It was part of how society was run. Like literally everything was kind of revolved around it in a lot of ways. And so a lot of the classism and whatnot legitimately came from religion. And hell, you even see this in the Bible. You even see the Pharisees and whatnot. They were extremely classist, extremely judgmental and disgusting. And so you see Toru's point here. This very much would happen. It would do more harm than good. And Elma's response is simply like, I wouldn't let that happen. But the problem is humans. The humans in this world seem to be very much the same as the humans in Kobayashi's world. They're people with this amount of free will, with the amount of autonomy, with the amount of just general sense of self that they have. There's going to be classist issues. There's going to be wars between humans. There's going to be horrible shit like that all the time because humans, as a general rule, kind of suck. We always have. And it's like, yeah, of course there are a lot of good people out there. But so much of humanity and so much of human history is steeped in terrible shit. Not just classism and wars and stuff, but bigotries as well. Stuff, all kinds of stuff like that. So Toru had a point. Now, I'm not saying that it was necessarily right for her and Elma to just go full on like Godzilla, Godzilla King of the Monsters fight here. But still, also, I do think this is the first time we've seen Toru's dragon form in the show proper, and definitely the first time we've seen it in such grand detail. Or not Toru's, Elma's. Did I say Toru? I meant Elma either way. The first time we've seen Elma's dragon form in the show proper, and in such full detail for sure. And yeah, we've like seen in the openings and stuff, and it's really pretty looking. Like Toru has more of a standard dragon form, let's be honest. But then you have like Kana and Elma's dragon forms, which are shown in the series, and both of them are just like really pretty dragons. Um, Kana's dragon form having like the white feathery look to her, and Elma's being this sleek sea dragon. They just have these really pretty looks. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. Just really pretty. Um, and from what we can see in the opening as well, you see like the other dragon forms and everything, and they all have like their own style to them for sure. Luqua's, for example, is crazy looking. Also, Luqua's dragon form seemed to change between the openings in season 1 and season 2, so that's interesting. Um, but I kind of want to see what Illulu's dragon form looks like, you know? Um, So we then get to the second, or before we get to the second half of this episode, also we see as Toru um, and Alma continue to, as the episode progresses, we see more and more like little shots of them continuing to like travel together and mess with each other and stuff. And I'm starting to see Kobayashi's point that they are kind of like friends. I'm not personally in the camp that believes that like friends should like necessarily pick on each other like that unless they're both perfectly okay with it and it's mutual. Because I mean, maybe it's just because I myself don't like that kind of thing and that kind of and I get really upset when people do that kind of stuff to me. Like it really genuinely bothers me. So maybe it's just on a personal level, but yeah, it's just I'm not fully on board with that, but it's still nice to see. And as long as it is mutual, then there's nothing inherently wrong with it. But let's talk about the second part of this episode, the second main plot point. Toru wants Illulu to get a job because Illulu is just doing nothing. Like literally when we see her, like she's just rolling around and then falling asleep out of boredom. And she is bored. She's clearly wanting to do something, but she just doesn't know what to do. She floats the idea very briefly of working at the same place as Kobayashi, but it's like it's already a bit crowded there. Elma already works there. Takia is there. I don't think Illulu would need to be there too. So we then go to Toru and Illulu walking around the shopping center trying to just look out for ideas. And Illulu mentions all these different things like, oh, the food shop. I don't know why my mind is blank. The food shop would just make me want to eat all the fish and meat. The bookstore, I just want to burn all the books. And it's like these chaos dragon temptations that they bring up. And Illulu mentions it's like I hate that these are my instinctive reactions to all of this. I hate this. And Toru's like, yes, but we're here because we're going against that. And it's like this is a really good thing to note because they are both chaos dragons. They both are instinctively destructive and aggressive. And yeah, they're both oddballs who don't want that, though. When we've known this, and we've known this about Illulu almost the entire season, when we found out in episode 2 about her backstory and everything. She never wanted to be that way. She wanted to have fun with friends and everything. And so we see here that Toru's like, we're the weirdos of the Chaos faction. We're going against our nature here. And so it's made very clear that Illulu should probably find something that wouldn't tempt her too much to go back into that kind of instinctive state. So they're not really finding anything, though, when Illulu sees some kids and wants to play with them because Illulu loves hanging out with and playing with children. And so they're led to this shop where Kana and Saikawa are also at, this kind of hangout shop. I think it's called Obere. But it's this little candy store, has some like games and stuff in it too. And it's run by this old lady that Toru knows from the neighborhood association. She's hurt her leg and is having trouble running the store lately, and so Illulu, just becoming instantly mesmerized with the shop, asks for a job and gets it. And so the next day, as she begins her first shift, we see her meet the old lady's grandson, Take. Take is a high schooler who comes to the shop and meets her. And although there's a lot of, the typical stuff with this series on messing with the sexuality side of things, um, there's still some genuine connection growing between them early on, and it seems pretty obvious by the end that they're going to become pretty close. Um, and blah, blah, blah. It's interesting to me that Illulu and Toru are claiming to be 16 in the human world, because like they are the equivalent of adults. We know this. But in this world, I guess like just their human forms have, I guess, maybe more of a younger appearance to them, so they're claiming to be younger. Because Toru introduced herself to Mrs. Ida, or introduced Illulu to Mrs. Ida rather, as like she's the same age as me. So this also means Toru is saying that as well, and Illulu even like shows confusion with that when she says it. She tells Taki, "I'm 16," and then she like says internally, "It's like that's what we're going with." As it's like it's made very clear. It's like, why are we pretending to be like teenagers, basically, like kids in a way? And it's like because Elma is very clearly around the same age as them too, and she's covering as an adult. So it's weird that that's the age they're going for. I mean, I don't know. Um, but we see how much how just instantly good Illulu is at this job, helping out the kids and just really creating this just instant connection with them working at this shop. Though she very clearly still is getting used to some societal norms, um, like telling this little girl about her giant breasts being her flame sacks and asking her if she wants to hold them. And it's like, chill, Illulu. But it's a really cute uh, half to this episode that really continues to show really how great of a character Illulu is. Like I mentioned this before, but I was worried going into this season because I had seen what Illulu looked like before, and I had heard a lot of people like a lot of manga readers and people who just knew about her from the manga bashing her because of her appearance and everything. And I was worried that she was going to live up to that negativity, that she was going to be a really poor character. But I don't know why I was thinking that, because this show has proven time and time again that it doesn't fall into those tropes. Although it's a parody series that definitely plays with those tropes, it also makes sure that all of its characters are genuinely likable, have depth, and just are more than just the caricatures that they're making fun of. Every single one of them is so much more. And Illulu is just so quickly become just this lovable character. You feel for her with her backstory and understand why she so easily connects with children because of it. You really just like her personality, and her kind of naiveness is fun. And she works really well off of the other characters. And that includes Take now. Um, so I'm definitely excited to see their relationship continue to progress. Um, I really enjoy this. I genuinely do. I think that this series is just continuing to prove itself to be so damn good. And this episode was just a really fantastic one, a fantastic episode where we had two really great like halves of the episode that really just one of them giving a lot of great backstory on two characters and their relationship with each other because of it, and the other one continuing to build up this new character who is becoming a classic. Like she just feels like part of the family at this point. So I am genuinely excited about where this is going to go. But tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S? And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.